And that is just one of the great gardens that you'll be able to visit on the upcoming Inside Austin's Garden Tour, which is featured by the Travis County Master Gardeners Association. It's going to be a great day. It's a Saturday, the 14th, the weekend after Mother's Day, and I know you're going to enjoy this tour. Joining me now to visit about it is Link Davidson. He's Master Gardener,
yes, sir.
Part of the program there, and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Your home is adjacent to one of the gardens.
It is. A neighbor of mine approached me a couple of years back and asked if I would just let my garden kind of meld into hers. Mm-hmm. So we took that on, and now her yard is done very similarly to mine.
And so that'll be there. Tandem gardening is an ongoing thing I've seen in more and more places around Austin. So that's something that folks can experience. But I think that this is going to be a really fun day for a lot of people because there's a great mix of gardens.
Yes, I think so. I think we've got quite an array this year in that none looks like any of the others.
Right.
So I think people will get a big array of different styles.
Yeah, and you have everything from very high-end plant collectors to really kind of folk art-looking kind of yards,
Absolutely.
In a sense.
Absolutely. We have Jeff Pavlet on one end of the spectrum, a collector of succulents and cacti, president of the Austin Cactus and Succulent Society.
And a guest on this show, an amazing gardener.
Absolutely, an incredible collection. Mm-hmm. And then on the other end, we have a kind of a folk installation in Rebecca Matthews' garden, where we have a very heat and drought tolerant selection in the front yard, but you go to the back and you find yourself in a shaded cottage style garden. Really nice.
Well, let's take them one at a time, and we're going to start by visiting the Cern Garden, and this is one that really has a big, expansive backyard with a gorgeous pond feature.
Absolutely. Joe's front yard is minuscule. It is the absolute epitome of the postage stamp yard, but you go through the gate into the back and you find yourself in nearly a half an acre. He has rain gardens around the periphery of his yard, abundant with all sorts of wildflowers and natives. He has some St. Augustine in place, but he too has taken out a lot of that to make place for a water garden that he put in a couple of years back. He's also installed a couple of large storage tanks for rainwater collection. I think they exceed together some 3,000 gallons. So his is a very nice interesting take on a traditional yard with some water-wise features.
Yeah, and some nice socializing places out by the water.
Absolutely.
Nice paving on the walkways. It just looks very spacious and a good place to kick back at the end of the day. There's a gorgeous shot of one of the porch there, and you can really get the sense of this expansive, comfortable space.
Absolutely. Very expansive, very comfortable. Yes, very inviting.
Right. That's the Cern Garden, and another garden that you have is one that is very xeric orientation in terms of plants that are really going to survive drought situations. This is Rebecca Matthews' garden. And to me, this one really looks like a little Texas cottage stuck in, I guess, a pretty traditional neighborhood.
Absolutely. Very traditional. It's right at the area of Brody and William Cannon. Her home in the front, she's taken out the grass and put in a lot of native and drought-tolerant plants. In the back, she has a total shade area, which is made to look like a cottage garden. Very inviting, very whimsical, very folksy. Yes.
Well, and she's done an amazing job with that strip out by the street.
Yes.
So just loaded with color and texture and different kinds of forms, and the dreaded death spot between the curb and the sidewalk.
What we call the hell strip. She's done a very good job with that. She's got a very colorful palette when everything's in bloom.
Yeah. So, and what I really get a sense here is that this is a personal space. This is not like a magazine garden where everything looks picture perfect, like a real estate picture. This is a gardener and in the garden setting, which is what you really look for in this kind of tour.
Yes. In fact, we try to select gardens that we know our master gardeners have created themselves, so people can see that they too can do things like this.
Yeah. The next garden we're going to talk about is owned by Cheryl Williams, and what I love here is just the way that she's treated the front yard. Again, what could be just a generic space with a St. Augustine lawn and Arizona ash trees, you know, by the use of sedges, it just completely transformed the space.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful treatment of the front yard. Very green, very alive looking, and there's no St. Augustine there. Cheryl comes to us from Oregon a couple of years ago, and she was astounded with the difficulties we as gardeners have in this area, and she decided not to fight, but to try to work with the conditions. Yes.
So she does rainwater harvesting as well.
Absolutely.
Raised bed vegetable gardening in the backyard.
She does. And she also uses a system of berms and ditches around the periphery of her front yard because she is on a slight slope, and she tries to catch as much of the rainwater when we get it.
Yeah. Do we get it?
Do we? I've forgotten what that looks like. But she does a very good job of improvising in trying to catch the water when we do get it.
Well, we mentioned Jeff Pavlot, and we have to show a few more images of his place because this is a spectacular setting. Beautiful terraces filled with great succulents, agaves, and cacti.
Yes, Jeff's space is almost not to be believed. It's so beautiful. He's done it himself with his partner, and it's a garden that is definitely not to be missed. If you're into cactus and succulent, even if you're not, I think you'll be overwhelmed by the beauty of his space.
Yeah, the different forms, the hundreds probably of species that he has collected, and the way that he presents them. I even just love the walls that they've created.
Oh, yes.
The big stones set in very artfully amongst the smaller ones, and just a really remarkable space. And for those people who have to deal with slopes and difficult kind of terrain in the western part of Travis County in particular, you'll get a wealth of ideas from this.
Absolutely. And we will have people there talking of how to build such walls. We're trying to educate our visitors, and so we will have sessions at each place relevant to what's going on in that yard. And in Jeff's, we'll have a speaker who will talk specifically to building walls. Jeff did those himself with his partner Ray Clayton, and it's just not to be believed. It's beautiful.
Right. And the last garden we're going to talk about is owned by Sue Nazar, who's been featured on our program as well. And again, a terrific space with great kind of street presence.
It is. It's a beautiful, tropical, lush feeling that you get when you walk into Sue's yard. You come into this beautiful hell strip when you first come to her space, and then beyond that, you're in a shaded area that makes you feel like you're anywhere but Central Texas heat. It's a nice space.
The backyard looks very tropical and
very
relaxing kind of space to be in.
Yes.
And you know, so you really have assembled a great variety of different kinds of spaces for people to experience. Now, let's give them some of the details about how they experience this. Unlike a lot of other garden tours, you can't buy tickets in advance for this one. You have to buy them at the different locations. So how can people, how can they know where to go to be a part of this?
They can go to our website, InsideAustinGardens.org, and they'll find information about where the gardens are with an interactive map, which will help them find the different places. Our 7 gardens, because we're actually also hosting the LCRA's Redbud Center this year. The 7,
which is always fun.
Yes, very interesting place where our visitors can learn a lot about the Colorado River and water wise gardening. At any of these gardens, our visitors can buy a ticket for an individual visit for $5, or they can buy entrance to all 7 of the gardens for $10.
That's great. So again, the website is
InsideAustinGardens.org.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that you're going to get a lot of takers on this one. So Saturday the 14th, and I hope a lot of folks will avail themselves to this opportunity to visit these beautiful gardens created by gardeners. That's the best part.
Absolutely.
All right, Link, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Coming up next, it's our friend Daphne.